Right.
It was basically the same
Standing
game.
up was better.
What's that?
You sound fine, actually. I mean, the video is obviously potato, but the sound is good. The video is like potato minus, actually. Like it's pre-potato. Is it a Chromebook Flip?
No, this is 2 or 3 year old XPS.
Oh, okay.
You look like you're in a room where they're performing experiments. That's all.
Yeah, the lighting in here is awful.
It is where it's at like that. They had that stupid movie where all the kids were on the webcam, and it was a horror movie.
Oh
What's the name
yeah,
of that
Unfriended.
movie? Yeah, that's like
Unfriended.
that. You look like you're on Unfriended.
If you stick your hand in a blender, I'm
I keep the
super
room
freaked
dark,
out.
so I have no reason to work in here at night.
All right, I am going to.
It seems like all
socialize.
It seems like all the light in your room is coming from the floor too. That's kind of weird.
Let's see. Oh God, Mr. Rapture.
Okay, I think so. We have an SMS from Brian at the last minute here.
Oh
Matt.
yes, I need to get that added. Or you want to add it real quick, or?
I'll do it. I have it open. And we have two antiques. We have two antiques this week. I'm so
I
excited.
believe you mean anti-cues.
Antiques, yes, that is the Old English pronunciation.
Well,
Antiques.
I like it.
First made popular by Lord Antique.
Lord Antique. That's my guy, actually. Like, most people don't even know that that's my guy. Oh, look at that.
Some
Bertel
say
even told us that he needed to restart, and I didn't see it. I just thought he was tired of hearing me talk. He's like, fuck, I'm tired of this guy's voice. I'm leaving.
Okay, I'm going to start the recording
This is
if
not gonna
my
work.
mouse works. There we go. Okay, and is everybody
I don't know
ready?
if I'm muted. I'm not muted.
You're not muted.
Okay. All right.
Is everybody ready? I mean, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Cam's ready.
I'm so ready.
Cam's ready. I can confirm.
I'm gonna introduce myself as Liam.
That's a
You should
fantastic
do that.
idea.
And see
That
if
would
anybody
be-
knows this.
I bet they won't. I bet they won't. They'll be like, what? Who? Who is this? Like, Lima?
Liam has the most fortunate case of bronchitis this week. Matt, you there?
No.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm looking up how to pronounce this person's name.
I think it's pronounced Bertel.
You mean Archit?
Apparently it's Arkeet.
Arkeet. Okay, I would have just said Archit.
Me too. That's why I wanted to look it up. It's pronounced Dexter.
Okay, well, are we
Yeah, we are.
R2G?
We are R2G.
G to G even?
We are D2D.
PG to G?
I'll never
Parental
PG.
guidance to go?
I'm just going to tell you right now, not a chance you're going to get this motherfucker PG.
DTP, down to podcast.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay.
All right. Hold on. All right. Should we start?
Nah.
Nah. Nah. Welcome to the Android Police Podcast, your weekly audio source for all things Android. It is Thursday, February 4th, 2016. I'm your host, Matt Smith.
I'm David Ruddick.
I'm Cameron Summerson.
And I'm Liam Spratlin.
Perfect.
This is totally who I am.
I mean, yeah.
Man, I can't argue with it.
For all of our longtime listeners, Liam is Bertel this week.
Or is Bertel Liam?
That's a question for the ages.
It
I
really
think the
is.
question for the ages is
Oh,
why
Matt,
Bertel?
roboting already.
How
Our
can you-
longtime listeners are so disappointed in your
For a few
roboting.
moments there, I was living the dream.
The dream of being Liam?
Oh, yeah.
Man, I had that dream too. Only if so I can have great hair. Just
Yeah.
Liam.
I think we've all had that dream. We had shoes that matched our shirt and a nice pair of khakis.
That is. Man.
All right, can you hear me now? Am I de-roboted?
You're de-roboted.
De-roboted. All right, so let's start off with an earnings call, because there's no better way to start off an exciting show than to talk about an earnings call. Except, in this case, maybe the fact that Google's parent company Alphabet is the most valuable company on Earth is something you want to know about. I suspect it is.
Maybe.
I mean, it might be.
Maybe.
I also heard that Alphabet released a live herd of lions into the crowd of investors at the call.
They
What's
did.
wrong with that?
I heard that from myself because I just made it up. But it
Oh,
would have been interesting regardless.
I don't know. I don't know if I believe you.
I don't know. I feel like everybody's just kind of sitting at home on their phone anyway, so it probably wouldn't have been that exciting.
What do you call it's not a herd of lions, it's a pride.
Pride.
I know I can, come on, we've all seen Lion King. What the hell? I can come with pride on the spot.
A pride of lions. Those arrogant bastards.
Yeah, they really are.
I mean, seriously, come on, give me a break. You're just
I'd
a
be
lion.
arrogant too if they're like that.
They
What?
do.
Oh.
So yeah, Alphabet is, the most valuable company on Earth for the moment. Let's just check and see if they still are. Because it'd be kind of weird if I don't think they are anymore. I think it's already. Nope,
It
they
was
aren't.
gone
Their
that fast.
stock is gone down already too.
Like,
Yeah. Well, the podcast is very timely with its news. So the Alphabet's market cap got up to around a little over 550 billion, and Apple's has been around 530, 540 billion for a little while. But Alphabet's back down to 507 billion again. So, psych.
Psych.
excellent. Excellent.
Workless.
You just busted out of psych. I haven't heard one of those in, man, it's been a really long time.
It's a classic. I keep it in my LA Lights shoebox.
Do
Bring it out
you
special.
ever break out not to go along
Oh
with
my
it?
god. I should pull that one on my kid. He'll just look at me like I'm an idiot. I mean, I kind of am, so it really works out.
Totally.
So
I feel
that's
like
a great
not-
way to start the show.
This is a great way.
We
to
have a
start the
news
show.
story. It's wrong.
It's wrong. But even better part is the next story that we have has every possibility of being completely wrong too. Because it's from a story from
It's
this is the one that
roboting.
came from the
I believe you're
information.
trying to tell us it's roboting.
It's roboting. It's not roboting anymore.
It's not. That's what it's a coincidence.
Here's what I need to do. I just need to switch my input after everything I say and stay ahead of it.
Yeah, there you go. That's,
Go back and forth.
seems foolproof.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I think that's
I
great.
think that's a good plan. Anyway, so yeah, our next story is also has the potential to just completely be inaccurate, but we're going to talk about it anyways. So we had a story on the site this week regarding a post that was made on the website The Information regarding some changes Google's looking to make to the Nexus program, including kind of just taking over full control over every small, minute detail of the construction and design and hardware implementation for the Nexus devices. But of course, it's all kind of speculative. That's the word I'm looking for. It's speculative.
Yeah,
We don't know.
Oh, I thought the word was
It's all kind of meh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that.
That's the spirit, everybody.
Yeah.
So the information, this Amir Fradi information, this report, is actually it had lots of little interesting tidbits in it. I thought the main point of the article was that Google wants to take greater control of the Nexus program, and it was really wishy-washy on what exactly that entailed and whether or not Google was actually really committed to it. It basically just sounds like Google saw like grumble, grumble. Nexus phones aren't doing grumble, grumble as well. Grumble, grumble for sales. And something underperforming, I don't know, control. And it seems like this comes down to Google wants to take the logo of the phone company off the back of the phone and maybe design more of the phone themselves, even though they already probably do all of the aesthetic design themselves and probably a lot of the technical design too, just not all of it. So the idea is that Google would be more like Apple and design almost all of the components of the phone, maybe, if that happens, which is there's no guarantee it'll happen, which they make very clear is like, the big asterisk, the, rumor that, well, maybe people at Google will want to do this, but maybe they won't. So it's kind of like the same as if we never knew it was an issue, is kind of how I feel about that. It seems like a rumor you could easily make up and say maybe it's going to happen. I'm not saying they made it up. I'm just saying it's so vague and broad that it's like, well, yeah, of course it's plausible that Google might want to do that. So are many other things that Google might want to do.
I suspect that there's conversations going on somewhere that this stems from. Doesn't mean that it's going to happen, but I suspect that somewhere within Google they're having conversations about this, and that's really all it amounts to. Conversations doesn't mean anything's going to happen.
It was like the context was actually Larry Page sent Sundar Pichai an email and was like, "LOL, have you seen this cat falling off a dresser? BT Wood W, do you want to take more control of the Nexus program? Question mark, question mark."
Oh my God, that almost sounds like. Actually, kind of sounds like 98% of AP emails.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, like our internal emails to each other. They always involve a bunch of stupid shit mixed in with maybe one thing that could be relevant to something.
Yeah. So there are other things in this story, though, that are worth talking about. First, the information gets behind the rumors that HTC is in talks to build the next Nexus phone or phones, which might be good. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Didn't work for the tablet too well.
Yeah, the tablet is kind of shitty. So I mean, that was most of the problem.
HTC makes things that are kind of shitty.
I think Google designed it and was like, "Here, build this shitty tablet," and like HTC's like, "But it's gonna be shitty," and Google's like, "Just build it." And
Here's
then
some money.
HTC's like, "Okay."
HTC was like, "But it's gonna be shitty," and Google was like, "That's why we picked you to build it."
That way nobody will blame us. They'll just blame you, HTC.
Yeah, that way everybody will be like, "Oh, it sucks because HTC built it."
Yeah,
Sorry,
okay.
HTC.
So the
I'm
other
not
piece of information
sorry.
that was in here, Google takes a 15% cut of the sales prices of Nexus phones it sells on the Google Store, but it didn't used to do that, apparently. At least not on all phones. It probably did on Nexus X. But given the discounts that the 5X and 6P are seeing in the U.S., Google's basically like taking a haircut on all of its profits to put these phones on promo sale. And then the related piece was that the information said the 5X and 6P and maybe the 6, they said the most recent Nexus phones are not meeting their internal sales goals at the Google. So, yeah. They also said the Nexus 5 is the best-selling Nexus phone of all time.
Which I think we do that. That's not really
Well, I
surprising.
mean, when you put out a phone that awesome at that price point, it is no surprise that it's the best-selling Nexus phone of all time.
Yep. Anything else is really the fact that the 5X and 6P are not on any U.S. carriers or in any U.S. carrier stores is, quote, a point of significant consternation for people at Google.
I don't believe that is true because I don't believe that most people even know what that means.
They're very concerned about it.
Well, people at Google know what it means.
I bet they don't. I bet not everyone at Google knows what that means.
They don't know what consternation means.
You know what Google knows is Matt is roboting.
Google
I'm pretty
does
sure
know that.
they could probably Google it at Google.
They probably could.
Oh my God! I wonder if at Google, people who work at Google, I wonder if they say "Okay, us" to their phone. They're like,
Let me us that real quick.
yeah, let me us that. Okay, us. I like it. I wish I could have my phone say that. Then I'd feel like I worked at Google.
And then
Okay,
finally,
Stay awesome.
Yeah.
the last piece, which is like really random, and something just fell over in my apartment. Google has pushed back against requests by carriers to enable LTE carrier aggregation on Nexus phones, which like is so random. Like I don't. It's the most by far technical piece of information in the whole article that comes out of nowhere. I have no idea why Google's against carrier aggregation. Carrier aggregation is the idea like you take multiple bands or parts of multiple bands and like you put them together and make like an LTE super signal. And
you take parts of bands and form one band, so it's like a super band, like back in the day when Pearl Jam and Soundgarden formed Temple of the Dog. Right?
They did?
Is that yeah?
Oh.
Temple of the Dog? Come on, you know Temple of the Dog. Everybody knows.
I don't know Temple of the Dog.
It's Pearl Jam and Soundgarden together in one band. They did one album together.
It was apparently monumentally successful, and that's why we all remember it so well.
I can't, dude. That is seriously like everybody knows that song. I can't believe like at least the one song that got really popular. Everybody.
What song? Sing it.
I just did. It's
Well, sing
called
the whole
Hunger
thing.
Strike.
I need the whole thing.
I can't. I'm not singing the whole thing.
If you can't sing the refrain, then I can't identify it.
I'm not going to do that. You are more than welcome to us it and find it on YouTube.
Can we just say Queens of the Stone Age instead or something?
Oh, man.
I'm
There's
sorry,
just
I
so
don't
many
speak
robots.
robot, so I have no idea what you're saying. Queens of the Stone Age is not an all-star band, okay? It is Josh Homme with a bunch of other people. So Josh Homme literally is Queens of the Stone Age.
Is Guns N' Roses an all-star band?
No, they might as well be, you know.
So Dave Grohl is just another guy.
Dave Grohl is not an active member in Queens of the Stone Age. He played drums on one of their albums, and that was it. He never even toured with them, as far as I know.
I am not super familiar with my 80s and 90s supergroups.
So just so we're clear, Queens of the Stone Age is a very much modern-day group.
Well, they're active today, but weren't they active like a while ago?
Maybe.
They've been active all through the 2000s.
Okay.
Yeah, not the 90s. Queens of the Stone Age are
Okay.
fantastic, by the way. I mean, I saw them live, and I was like, I love Josh Homme. He is such an asshole, and I really like him.
That's great. So,
Okay.
we have other
So now-
stories.
Hey, yeah, we should move on to things that are actually relevant to our show.
It's relevant. David talked about forming a super band.
Yeah, well, tonight we're going to talk about Marshmallow on Android Wear. So, if we could just be done with the super band, that's good. So, anyways, yeah, Google apparently has started rolling out Marshmallow for Android Wear. So, as you know, they kind of control that upgrade process end to end. So we should be seeing it soon. Really, no matter which device you have, but there's always kind of a order they come out in or whatever. But Huawei's speaker, the internal speaker on the Huawei watch, should start to magically work and do stuff, as we know because they now tout it on the Play Store or the device store, the Google Store. That's what it's called. So yeah, anything exciting else we should look for other than speaker support in Marshmallow? Anybody? know
New
what's going on?
gestures. New gestures. And they're kind of okay. kind of useful. I don't even remember what they are now. For the brief period of time when I had the whatever that LG watch that came out or didn't come out, came out and then didn't come out anymore.
The G-Watch Urbane LTE.
The Urbane, yeah, that one. So when I had that one briefly, I actually did a post on the gestures, and I have the GIFs around here somewhere. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's more than just the flick up and back and forth gesture. There's also like a move down quickly and move up quickly to swipe left and right, I think. And then there's one other one that I could never get to work, and I can't remember what it is. So new gestures, speaker support, new gestures. I'm not sure what else there is.
Would you say they are a super band of gestures?
A super band of gestures, exactly. Kind of like Slash's Snake Pit when he formed his supergroup, or that time Guns N' Roses took on Scott Weiland as their singer. That was essentially a supergroup. What the hell was their name? I'm gonna it real quick.
I feel like it was just the name of the band was just like utter crap. Is what I feel like it should have been.
Oh my God! Google, holy shit!
No, it was Velvet Revolver.
Velvet Revolver. Okay, that's why I was getting them confused. Velvet Revolver is a supergroup. Okay.
Velvet Revolver. So I type in Scott Weiland. I was gonna type in Scott Weiland Guns N' Roses, but it literally in the Omnibox it says Scott Weiland cause of death drug overdose. Like it answers. It's like
we know where you're going with this, and it ends with Scott Weiland being dead.
Yeah, so it's like Scott Weiland cause of death is the autofill suggestion, and then the answer to that suggestion is directly under it in much larger letters, and it says drug overdose.
This show is more off the rails than Scott Weiland's whole life.
Speaking of off the rails, I clicked on the post and I'm looking at all the gestures that they have. And honestly, like I'm watching these animations that you have on here, and it just reminds me of my son when he tries to take his boots off without using his hands.
What the fuck?
I totally got what you were saying. I get what you're saying. It's like you do look like a complete and utter moron using gestures on Android Wear. There's no way around it.
Essentially, what David is saying is that your son looks like a complete and utter moron when he tries to take his shoes off without using his hands. Those are his words.
Well, I look like a complete and utter moron when I try to kick off my shoes without my hands. I have a feeling it transfers to children. Except slightly cuter, probably.
Every single time he does it, I tell him, just use your hands, and no, he continues to, like, flop his foot around on the ground repeatedly.
So, no, I get it. Like, I don't know. I use gestures a lot, actually, especially, like, the flick up and down gesture, mostly because that's
I can't stand that one. Oh,
no, I use those all the time, especially when I am riding my bicycle. Because I'm like, oh, what is this? Let me look. Flicky, flicky, flicky. Okay, hands back on the bars. Because there was this one time I wasn't paying attention and I wrecked and almost died, and I kind of don't want to I don't want to do that again. Mostly.
Almost dying.
It doesn't even help to try and explain it. It's like, why is this man seizuring? Oh, he's just trying to use his watch.
Why is he doing this? Oh, he's just...
Why is he doing that to his watch?
Seriously,
because
you
it's
look like you've got like a
watch.
tick in your arm when you're using the flip gesture. It's like It's this is obviously coming through really well on the audio show. The point is, I look really stupid when I try to do it.
I mean, to be fair, you look pretty stupid most of the time.
Hey.
I'm just kidding. I didn't mean it. I just saw an opening and I had no choice but to take it.
All right. Well, let's move on. Since this podcast is derailing so much, we should move on to something more about podcasts. So Google Play Music announced, well, I don't know, was there ever actually a formal announcement about podcast support in Play Music? I don't recall there being.
There was an announcement of some kind somewhere.
But
it was a while ago.
It was a while ago, and so far we haven't actually seen it come to light, except for in an APK teardown, of course, because nothing gets past us. But yeah, so apparently it's going to be coming live this month, according to Bill Simmons, and apparently some people already have it. So.
Yeah.
I am not one of those people.
The Android Police podcast will be on there. Shameless plug. Probably. If they accept our submission. Which, I mean, I don't know what their criteria are. We submitted it. It should be on there.
That's a pretty bad plug.
I think the
wasn't very
criteria, I don't know, like, if the criteria is the show must be listenable, then we might not be on there very long.
I think we can probably safely assume that absolutely no one at Google is listening to this podcast, regardless of whether or not it's submitted to the Google Play podcast.
You know what? If they did, though, if they did listen to it, then they can actually email me and tell me if they can confirm if OK Us is a thing at Google or not.
If someone is listening right now, I would like the homepage to just be an animated version of us when I sign in tomorrow.
That's fantastic. Your idea is way better than mine.
I don't know, though. If you were Liam, you'd be mocking it up right now.
Oh, man.
Oh. Oh, boy. I
will mock it up. It just will not be good.
Then we will have to mock your mocking.
We're gonna mock your roboting, is what we're gonna do.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that deserves to be mocked.
I'm
I'm gonna throw this thing out the window by the end of the show, and since I have glass block window, it's gonna be really, really destructive.
You have to throw it several times.
Yes.
Probably you're gonna actually have to strap a brick to the laptop and then throw it. That's probably the only way you're gonna be able to succeed there.
I'm pretty sure that wouldn't even do it. I think this stuff's like 4 inches thick.
Fine, 2 bricks. Let's get creative.
Today,
All right.
Getting creative means adding another brick. I'm down. I'm down with it.
All right. Well, we found out this week that February 21st is the day that we are going to find exactly how LG and Samsung both intend to get creative this year. The announcement was made that February 21st is going to be the unveiling of the Galaxy S7. There's a potential that there might be a Gear 360 camera to go along with that, as well as the S7 Edge. And now we're hearing apparently LG G5 coming the same day, which is a Sunday. We're not going to be able to talk about the hijinks of this day for like a full 4 days afterwards on the show.
Yeah, so hopefully we will physically be there to experience all of the hijinks. We will be covering live hijinks. So I'm hoping we will be there to do that. But it's like crappy WrestleMania. So it's like 2 phones showing down one day, 2 phones that most people on Android Police don't really care about.
So,
because
was it last year? Was it LG that was trolling the Samsung announcement last year, or was that HTC?
It's always HTC.
HTC is always the angry kid in the corner being like, oh, well, your guys' phone announcement just, something about... I don't even... It's never any good. There's nothing memorable than what HTC says when it mocks other companies.
Yeah.
It's always ridiculous.
Yeah. So I doubt HTC will be unveiling the M10 at MWC because they need all of the attention and eyeballs they can get, and that's probably not going to be a good place to do it with the S7 and G5 both dropping there.
No, not going to be good. I am excited to find out finally what the Magic Slot is.
Yeah, I am too, because I've seen some things, and I still don't really know what the Magic Slot is. So I'm curious. Also, I've seen some things, and some things that LG's doing, they're pretty odd looking. I'm gonna dub the LG G5 the chin strap. That's my code name for it, and you will probably see why shortly after they announce it.
I like it. I like it already.
All LG phones.
It's like extra chin strappy. Like it's going to be pretty good. Cameron,
I like it.
we have to restart the show now.
On a scale of 1 to I don't care, guess how I feel right now.
I'm going to guess you care a lot.
God, it's so much.
I'm trying to side you, but I don't know which side you're on.
I'm on the side that doesn't care. That's
both sides of the scale in Cameron's world.
It really is. It's like, do you care or do you care? I mean, do you not care or do you not care?
I care so much.
I care so much, I don't even care anymore.
Yeah, so what we know about the Galaxy S7 is going to have a Snapdragon 820 processor, probably in America, maybe in China, Exynos everywhere else. The G5, we don't know too much about at all. It's going to have the second screen thing via the V10, and there's this magic slot rumor. But other than that, I mean, there's some specs floating around out there. But otherwise, it remains pretty mysterious. LG, I mean, it'll probably get leaked like 2 days before it gets announced. But LG so far, comparatively, has kept up the mystery factor better.
Which is
no
weird.
Surprise there.
Is it? I mean, I always forget who tends to get leaked first. Samsung inevitably gets leaked because it's Samsung and everybody cares. LG, I think, is a function of about how much somebody in a position to leak something does care.
Yeah, I feel like LG is the one. Samsung is the one that gets leaked accidentally because people care, and then LG is the one that gets leaked on purpose to try to get people to care.
Yeah.
Shouldn't HTC be leaked by now?
HTC, yeah. Yeah, I would say HTC's due for a leak. Hint.
Hint.
Yeah, at some point here, probably soon. Let me just go check a Twitter handle and see. I
wonder what that Twitter handle is.
It's not there yet, so we'll see what happens. But I would say the M10 is well on its way, just probably not at MWC, because HTC wants all of the attention. This is the part.
How high do these numbers go before they pick another letter?
I don't know. Do any, let's see, like do any of the M numbers, like 11 through 20, call to mind something else? M16. I'm guessing they could not do the HTC M16. That would probably be in poor taste. Unless it came with like a assault rifle grip. Which would also be in poor taste. So I'm guessing there will not be an M16.
I can see the cringe-worthy ads already.
Oh my god. Yeah.
It'll probably be Kevlar, and it'll be sold on Verizon.
Is like the only appropriate response to that.
Yep.
Blah.
Well, we may not have leaks for the M10, but we do have some leaked images that came out this week regarding the Alcatel Idol 4 and 4S, which I realize is a really poor substitute. It's a really poor substitute for M10X, but it's what we've got. So let's talk about it.
Are we talking about the Idol 4? Sorry, I was.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So somebody sent us these links, these Alcatel support pages, and it was like, whoops, somebody did not do their job right. They did their job just too early. They were a little overzealous in doing their job, basically.
They did their job too right.
Yes, it was too right. Way too right, unfortunately. And so the successors to the Idol 3, and so the Idol 3 had two versions, the 4.7 and the 5.5, right? Right. So the new versions will be the Idol 4 and 4S. The Idol 4 will have a 5.2-inch screen, not a 4.7. They're not going to do a really tiny phone again. The Idol 4S will have a 5.5-inch screen. So the 4S has a Snapdragon 652 processor, which is in a lot of ways like a beefed-up Snapdragon 808 almost. So it's actually a pretty fast chip. It'll have a a Quad HD Super AMOLED display, 16-megapixel camera, 3,000 mAh battery, Marshmallow. There's a bunch of other stuff we leaked about too, but I don't want to get too into it here. The Idol 4 will have a 2,600 mAh battery, about Snapdragon 617 processor, right? Am I looking at this correctly here?
That's right.
And a Android 6.0, and a 5.2-inch 1080p IPS screen, and then a 13-megapixel camera on the back instead of the 16-megapixel. So I have a feeling the Idol 4 will be like a bumped version of the Idol 3 5.5 that exists right now, just with Android 6.0 and a slightly better processor. The 617 is a little better than the old 615, better LT radio, slightly more up to date on the RAM standard, hopefully a little faster storage. The 4S though looks pretty good. I'm liking it a lot. It depends on the price. If this comes in at like $300, the 4S could be very competitive. Seems like a good phone.
Did you just say you like something?
I like the original Idol 3 5.5. It was just slow as shit. I mean, that phone was like really slow.
That means you didn't like it.
I liked a lot of parts of it. I liked the fact that it had front-facing speakers. It had a good screen. It had a good camera, front and rear. It had good battery life. It was a nice design. It was nice to look at. Like, I was surprised at how nicely designed the phone was. It had a nice minimalist aesthetic to it. I liked most things about it. What I don't like, it's still on Android 5.02, like 16 months after it came out. Or no, it's been like 12 months, I guess. It's been too long. The phone should not have Android 5.0.2 anymore. And yeah, it was slow. It was like beat your head in with a hammer slow sometimes. It was just not great. That was the Snapdragon 615 though. So it's 652 on the 4S. It should be a hell of a lot better. That was easily the weakest point of that phone.
So it's difference between 5.2 and 5.5 even big enough to be worth it?
Yeah,
because the 617 is going to be a lot slower than the 652. A lot.
Why? What's up with the naming scheme? How is a 652 even similar to an 808?
So a 617 is like a hopped up 615.
Right, I get that, but 652
is actually a whole new generation of chipset.
I figured because I've never heard of it. So
yeah,
but you said it was like a beefed up 808. Why 652 if it's like an 808? Why not 8?
Because the 820 is that much faster. So
is it really? So the 820 is so fast it like makes the current generation look like it's.
Yeah, it's almost like Qualcomm did a really crap job last year and released a bunch of crap products. And this year's will be less crap. There's one phone out with 652 right now, the Galaxy A9, and I think its GPU alone scores like 10 times better in Antutu than the old 615s does, which is just like a GIMP of a GPU.
I was going to say, the 615, I mean, you can't even, the 615 is just, blah.
Yeah, so it scores in Antutu, and I mean, I'm not a huge Antutu person, but I think the Galaxy A9 scores 77,000 in Antutu or something, which is, I think, what the Galaxy S6 scores about. So it's really fast. I think that's more than the Galaxy S6 scores, actually. Now I'm trying to think about it. It might be. I don't readily recall. But anyway, the 4S, the Idol 4S should be very fast. The 652 seems like a fast chip.
652, y'all. And you can't cook toast with it? Apparently.
Yeah, that's to be decided.
Okay. Well,
we might get a look at these phones at MWC, maybe.
Maybe.
I
just think it's weird that they released the 4 and the 4S in the same calendar year. That's weird to me.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, well, just because Apple. But I mean, to be fair, the last one was called the Idol 3, and this is the Idol 4, but they're adding an S instead of doing a parenthesis of the screen size, because parenthesis of the screen size was pretty dumb. I hope they're dropping the one-touch thing, too. Yeah, it just says Idol. So hopefully it'll just be the Alcatel Idol 4.
So are you trying to say that you don't like ridiculously long phone names?
Yeah, it's something, what was it? Last year was the Alcatel One Touch Idol 3, parentheses, 5.5, end parentheses.
It's so catchy. It sounds so
rolls
good.
off the tongue.
There's no comma in there. They should add a comma somewhere.
Takes a long time to roll off the tongue, but it does roll off the tongue.
It did need a comma because it needed a slight pause in there. Like it could be the Alcatel One Touch.
Kind of like Sprint
Idol 3.
or Samsung's, was it the Sprint Galaxy Epic 4G Touch I don't even remember. Epic 4G Touch.
The Sprint Samsung Epic 4G Touch LTE, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, Epic 4. Was it the Epic Touch 2? Maybe, I don't know.
So
it was bad. It was that was the phone name to end all phone names. Epic 4G Touch. That's what it was.
Hmm.
So it was just suggested that we should have a drinking game for every time David says pretty.
So I just shamelessly, I've watched way too much Curb Your Enthusiasm, essentially. So that and a friend of mine in college, we would both say it, and it was terrible. Like, I used to say it more. I try to cut down on my usage, but I fail most of the time.
David is on pretty rations.
Yes.
In his pretty
rations.
in his pretty pain cave.
Mm.
All right, so let's move on to product reviews. Let's do that. And I don't know, do we want to start it off with the Blue Vivo, or do we want to skip straight to the angry Rhombus?
No, we'll start with we can talk about the Vivo XL briefly. I put it in a box earlier, and I don't know where it is, so I can't actually show it on camera.
Nobody puts a
It's
Vivo in a
so
box.
good that I put it in a box.
Well,
And
come
there's the
on. I
review.
mean, am I seriously going to? I mean, anyway, it's pretty good. It's $150 for the first 3 days, which ended this past Sunday. Yeah, it ended this past Sunday. It was only $99, and for $99, it's pretty good. I really liked it. It's pretty comparable to the Life 1X that I reviewed. I guess it was last month. That I really liked, and I still really like. It's got a 720p Super AMOLED display, whereas the Life 1X has a 1080p display. They've got the same processor. Both have 2 gigs of RAM, 16 gigabytes of storage. I mean, they're really similar. It's bigger. It's got the Vivo XL has a 5.5-inch display. The Life 1X has a 5.2. So anyway, I mean, for $150. Solid phone. It's got that weird software layer that they kind of use on some phones and don't use on others that I really can't explain why. And I don't really like that all that much. All the quick setting stuff has been moved from the notification shade to a slide up. You have to slide up from the bottom like on an iPhone, which I don't like because it just doesn't feel natural to me, I guess, because I'm so used to the way Android is supposed to be. Yeah, but it's gold also. It is gold inspired by liquid metal, so they say. Looks pretty good though. I'm kind of digging gold phones these days. So I thought it looked pretty good. I'm really just waiting for the Vivo 5, which is supposed to be much better. 3 gigs of RAM, more storage, blah blah blah. Same display though, so that's kind of interesting. But I'm really just waiting for that one. That one's gonna be $200, and it's supposed to be out I think next month. So maybe at the end of this month. I don't know. I'll have to ask. But it's pretty good. I mean, if you need a backup phone, and it would have been better to get it last weekend. It's available exclusively at Best Buy. It comes in gold and blue, but it would have been much better to get it last weekend when it was only $100. But it's still good for $150. But I think for my money, $150, I would still buy the Life 1X.
So how about those buttons?
What buttons?
They're looking backwards. The hardware buttons.
Oh my God, the capacitive keys. That pisses me off, but I've gotten to the point where I'm just kind of used to it because some blue phones have capacitive keys, some don't. I really hate capacitive buttons, though. I would hate them less if they were in the same order that stock Android and most other manufacturers use, which is back home recent. But they're not. They're recent home back. And that really drives me insane. I really don't like that. The other side of that, which I always hear the argument in every review in the comments where people are like, no, I like capacitive buttons because then I get more display, blah, 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 bullshit. Whatever, you get to see a little bit more. It is not that big of a difference.
And in the only situation where you want it for videos or games, it goes full screen anyway.
It goes full screen anyway.
Unless you're using some ghetto ass app that doesn't understand immersive mode, in which case
and
stop
if you're using
that
app that doesn't understand immersive mode, that's your own damn fault.
It
Hey,
is.
Cam, tell me how you feel.
I don't want to. I just don't think it's fair. Anyway, it's a pretty decent phone. I don't like the capacitive keys, though. That's another reason why I prefer the Life 1X. It's also a little bit smaller, the 5.2. I really like it. This has been my secondary phone for a really long time now, actually. Well, I say a really long time, and by that I mean a month, which is a long time for my secondary phone because it changes all the time.
Secondary phones.
Secondary phones, yeah. My main phone?
You say this has been my secondary phone for a long time, and I, as someone who's never had a secondary phone, have no idea what that means.
Oh, I have two phones pretty much always.
I mean,
I had
who has two phones? I mean,
Because he's a drug dealer.
it's yeah. I mean, I've got my main phone where I do professional business, and then I've got my other phone where I do side business. You know what I'm saying?
Side business is drugs. It's drugs, everybody.
It's drugs. I'm trying to say that I sell drugs.
I
don't.
assumed based on the fact that the first one was referred to as professional business that was the drugs.
I mean,
See, that's
kind of-
that's the tricky way to do it.
it is. You might both be right. I don't
know that anybody would
both my phones.
I don't know that anybody would actually refer to what Cameron does on Android Police as being professional.
I don't know that anybody would refer to anything I do as professional. So, who knows?
All right, so let's move on. There's a tablet you need to tell us more about.
Oh my God, the Predator 8.
Predator.
The Predator 8, the Acer Predator 8 gaming tablet. So I reviewed that. That is actually already in a box and on its way back to Acer because I couldn't get it out of my house quick enough. Basically, it's pretty not good. The display is okay, and the 4 front-facing speakers, Predator Quadio, as Acer likes to
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, no shit. That's how I felt too. So those are pretty good though. The 4 front-facing speakers are good. The display is pretty good. It's got some settings that lets you tweak the display, and that's pretty nice. But everything else about the tablet literally sucks ass. It's awful. Not literally sucks ass. That would be fucking gross. So it's pretty bad though. It's pretty gnarly. So it's really uncomfortable to hold. Damn it, I shouldn't have sent it off yet. But anyway. It's really uncomfortable to hold because of the speakers on the corners like dig into the middle of your hand. You have to like adjust how you hold. It's really annoying. It looks really stupid. Like I was embarrassed to take that thing anywhere, and I did. I took it some places, and I would just like lay it down and watch people's reactions, and they're like, "Oh God, what is that thing?" So it's pretty ugly. It's not very fast. It's got an Intel chip, which we all kind of know that Intel is just not that great when it comes to Android. So, like to launch The Walking Dead, which is The Walking Dead No Man's Land, which is like one of my most played games, I would launch it, and then like I could go like get a beverage and come back, and then maybe it would be ready to go. Whereas on like the Pixel C or Shield tablet or something like that, I tap it and boom, it's there in just a few seconds. So because The Walking Dead, it takes a while to load, but on the Predator, it would even take a while to show up before it started loading. So it was janky, and everything was really like that. There was just a lot of delay, which was weird because it was just a weird sort of performance issue because it never really got bogged down, I guess. But it was just stupid. It was just stupid all the time. Once you got into an app, it was fine. It was everything. All games were playable and stuff like that. And that was okay. It also is loaded down with so much bloatware. I mean, it's got 3 home screens full of bloatware. And I mean, it's just ridiculous. And that's not even all the apps that are pre-installed. Oh my God, so much stuff pre-installed on this thing. I don't think it's been a long time since I've seen a device, if ever, with that much bloatware on it. Most of it is games. And I'm like, oh, Acer tried to justify this, and they're, somehow I'm like, oh, it's a gaming tablet, so here's all this free bullshit you don't want to play. That's kind of what I figured they did with it, but that was just.
Yeah, you've got to bet some of those they weren't even paid to put on there. They probably only get paid if it converts to either a download of the full game or if you like buy something in the game. Because beyond a certain point, like if it were that profitable to put preloads on phones, there'd be a hell of a lot more preloads on crappy phones than there are. That thing is like ridiculous.
It really is. It's unbelievable. The amount of stuff on that is just crazy. Other than that, let's see. Was there anything else that I hated about it? Basically everything. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. It just wasn't very good. It's $300. I think it's like $285 or something on Amazon. So it's like if you want a gaming tablet or just a decent 8-inch Android tablet, buy a Shield Tablet K1. It's $200. It has less storage because the Predator has 32 gigabytes on board, but like 12 of that is taken up with pre-installed garbage.
What?
Yeah, it was crazy. I think it was like 10 or 12 gigabytes. Just
oh my
stupid.
God.
Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, you don't get that on the Shield Tablet. Plus, Shield Tablet's got a micro SD card, a micro SD slot, and Marshmallow, so it integrates beautifully into the system, and who knows if the Predator will ever get it. Anyway, Acer was, needless to say, not pleased with the review, which is unfortunate because I don't know why it's unfortunate, honestly.
I mean, Acer doesn't really even make that much Android stuff anymore these days. They seem to kind of be phasing their way out of the biz.
Yeah, they used to make a lot of pretty decent budget tablets. Like, I've always been more impressed with their budget stuff because it's like, oh, this is $150, and it's not that bad. But then when you've got one that's $300 and you call it a gaming tablet, which I would have probably been a little bit more lenient on it if they didn't try to say it was a gaming tablet, because I mean, come on, everybody knows when you say something is for gaming, it's got to perform well. It just has to.
Nothing says gaming like pre-installed copy of CBS News.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yep,
that's
true.
That's true. So anyway, not a good tablet. Not a good thing to buy. Get a Shield Tablet K1 if you want an 8-inch tablet. If you prefer something a little bigger, higher end, buy a fucking Pixel C. Don't even think about the stupid Predator.
Yeah, I think we're going to see more and more of these gimmicky tablets, though, because like the mainstream tablet market is kind of donezo, I think, for Android. Aside from the rare high-end stuff that like Google did with Pixel C, and even that's got like the keyboard thing, like oh, it does a keyboard thing or whatever. I think the mainstream Android tablets, by and large, aside from like the crappy Walmart stuff and Amazon's Fire stuff, I don't think we're going to see too many more of those. We're going to see a lot more tablets to try to focus on the gimmicks, like the gaming, or I don't know, maybe there'll be a tablet for like doctors or something. I don't know.
I want a tablet that has a spinning hard drive and a full USB port.
Wait, didn't one of
Argos do that? I think Argos did.
They tried to do that. I wonder if it actually ever came out.
Argos totally released one with a traditional spinning hard drive. What the hell?
500 gigabyte hard drive. Yeah.
That is insane. That is insane. Why would you? I mean, I don't even know what to say.
It's like the world's biggest iPod Touch.
I mean, and it's yeah.
I just want a tablet that brings back the full-size USB port.
That's
full-size USB.
What I did kind of miss, I had a Toshiba tablet that had a full-size SD card slot, and I found that pretty useful.
Too. That was
I
nice.
actually liked that.
It's almost as though a full-size SD has a benefit of higher read and write speeds. I mean, like, what's up with that?
Yeah. Like, my Chromebook Flip doesn't even have an SD card. Wait, does it?
Micro SD.
It's micro SD.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah, I was going to say, it doesn't
micro
have...
SD.
It's a fucking... It is. It's a micro... Look, right there it is. Look, you guys, you want to see it? Right there it is. Boom, micro SD slot on the Flip. Look, my Flip's walking dead. Fied. I didn't see that. I found this sticker in my drawer, and I was like, oh my god, and like one of the drawers back there. And I was like, oh man, I forgot about this. I need to put it somewhere, and it fit almost perfectly on the Flip, and I was like, you know what? It's destiny.
I thought about putting some stickers on my Dell XPS 13, but then I was like, who puts stickers on a Dell? I mean, that just like it just says sadness.
You know what you should do?
I think I just figured it out. So this printer that I have behind me right here has a slot that accepts NS, DVO, SD, XD, and MMC cards. Maybe that is what's going into the LG G5. It's a magic slot. One slot for all the cards.
Maybe that's it.
I hope
but
it's
wait,
like old school Sony memory stick duo.
Yes.
David, you have to get an Adele sticker to put on your Dell, because then you'll have Adele with an Adele sticker.
Hey, that's actually I might actually do that.
I like that.
All right, I'm going to get
totally
into
put
this.
You have to put it on the bottom though, so that every time you flip it over, you think hello from the other side.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Oh.
I feel like I have to throw something right now. That was just.
Fantastic. Oh, but I have carbon fiber on my iPad. Look, I'm showing an iPad on the Android Police podcast. What are you going to do about it? It is D-brand. It is D-brand. D-brand there. I got some D-brand there.
So we got some emails and a text, and then 2 antiques to roll through. So better get on top of that.
My bad.
We should get on top of that. We'll start off with the email from Dexter. We actually, interesting enough, he actually asked a question specifically about Android Wear. He says, does Google have an official support time frame for Wear devices like it does with Nexus devices? Mainly, will I see API 23 on my first-gen Moto 360? If so, will it be released the same time as other Wear devices, again, like how Nexus updates are released? The TI OMAP chipset seems like it will be the first on the chopping block. So it just so happens that the article that we post about rolling out Marshmallow for Android Wear, there was a quote in there that specifically said that you shouldn't abandon API 22 yet until all the devices get the update, which pretty heavily would indicate that API 23 will be coming to every Android Wear device, but obviously not 100%, but pretty solid. Anybody else anything to add to that?
I mean, yeah, I don't know if they said which devices are going to get it, and I don't think they've made any promises about support time frames. But yeah, I mean that Google's got to want to get rid of support for that TI chipset like nobody's business. Like that has to be like high priority at the Android Wear firmware team. But I imagine Moto still has a role to play there, and I would bet if Moto is still willing to update it, Google's probably still willing to update it too. So I would be on the lookout. My inclination would be that they'll update it because they pushed that watch so hard when it came out.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have any numbers to back this up, but I can't imagine that there's an Android Wear device that's sold better than the original 360.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that was the best selling one. But I would bet maybe the original G Watch was probably the closest. Otherwise,
well, that's just because it's been sold for so
close.
cheap for so long.
Yeah, exactly. That would be the reason. So I would bet it's going to get it, but when and how long it's going to be supported, I would bet probably not past 6.0. I would guess that this would be the last major hurrah for the Moto 360, but I could be wrong.
All right, so our next email is from Kenneth. He says, you guys were talking about flashing Franco kernel with the flash boot command. I was wondering if the battery life improvements came even without the device being rooted. Thanks. So obviously that was Liam was talking about the Franco kernel quite a bit last week, and he wanted to chime in, but unfortunately I didn't leave that email open. So
so Cody just confirmed in the chat that all Wear devices are getting the Android M update. So nobody's getting left behind. Yay!
Yay!
Man, I'm not looking forward to when the first group of devices get left behind.
Yeah, well,
because the amount of angry emails with links to some stupid I just went completely blank. You know where I was going with this.
There are going to be a lot of them too, because you know what? There are a lot of people who bought a Wear device, I think, that not really regretted it so much as have no desire to ever purchase another one. And these people are going to be livid when their device doesn't get a major update at some point. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. So far ahead of ourselves.
I know, but we know what's coming. We know it's coming because there are going to be so many petition. That's the word I was looking for. Can you share my petition? We have to do something about this. Please tell manufacturer X to update my 3-year-old fucking watch.
There will probably be a lawsuit from 2 guys in California too.
Yeah. So getting back to Kenneth's question, I wish we had like a cutaway video of Liam, like one of those, like a daily double on Jeopardy where he answers the question.
Who does the best Liam impersonation?
That would be Bertel today.
Okay, Bertel, you have to read. I'm gonna put Liam's answer in the chat. You have to read it. Here it is. Well,
I don't do impressions. I would just read it. Pretend I look very nice as I read this. All right, I wanted to answer this question on the show, but let's see. So my understanding of this from my experience with Franco's kernel is that you do not need root to flash it, but you will need root if you want to modify certain settings in the configuration app. But you can get the basic benefits from the kernel without root.
So,
Thank you, Liam.
Go. Thanks, Liam.
Welcome.
So,
I don't see the oh wait, here it is. All right, so yeah, anybody else anything to add?
Robomat.
Robomat. I want to point out that was a real solid run. That was like
it was pretty good.
solid run.
Like that was like a 17-minute drive in football. You never got to the end zone, but man, you kept that ball going.
I don't even like football, and that was funny. that was great.
Yep. All right, so we also had a text message in from Brian. So Brian said, "It seems like phone prices are plummeting. The more 1-year-old top-line models are selling for $200 or even $100. Do you think it's sound advice to simply focus on buying year-old models to maximize the price-value ratio, or does it still make sense to buy the latest and greatest? What are your thoughts?"
I think if you can handle if you can live with yourself knowing that you just bought last year's model, first off, I don't think I wanted anything to do with you because I don't trust people like that. And second off, then yeah, it's okay.
You know, like honestly, for the Nexus 6, I think getting a Nexus 6 right now is fine.
I know, I totally agree.
Yeah, because you're going to get your software updates. You're going to get it for a lot cheaper than you can get a 6P. I think
like we've seen this thing go for like what, $250, $200?
Yeah, it's dropped pretty low.
Crazy.
But I think
the
software updates are the biggest concern because obviously with most OEMs you're not going to get software updates for a device that's a year old for much longer, if at all. I mean, the Android Update Alliance or whatever is not really come through for us. So if you can live without the updates, I guess it's fine. But if not, go with the Nexus model from the year ago. But I don't know. I don't know.
I would say even especially with the Nexus 6, I think that the front-facing speakers are better on the Nexus 6 than the 6P for one. Like that's something. Like hey, sometimes I want to watch YouTube in the bathroom, and I'm noticing my Nexus 6P bathroom experience is not quite as good as my Nexus 6 bathroom experience was. It also had a bigger screen, so that helped. Also, I like the plastic on the Nexus 6 better than I like the metal on the 6P. I don't know what it is. I just do. The Nexus 6 is harder to hold because it's bigger, but the 6P just feels cold and industrial. It also looks like a Cyclops.
But you know what? The 6P also has Android Imprint, which is cool and fast, and a much better camera.
Yeah, it has a much better camera, and Nexus Imprint's pretty awesome. But if you have Android Wear, or if you have another trusted device that's always with you, then you don't need Nexus Imprint because your phone's always unlocked anyway. There's that.
True story.
So,
True
The
story.
6P has P in the name, so it should be a better bathroom experience.
Oh my God, that's so logical.
Mm.
You would think. I don't know.
Has anybody actually done a P test on it though?
I don't know. Do robots do P tests?
Poor Matt. Matt, poor
I'm
you.
so sorry, Matt. I'm just trying to make it as nonchalant as possible. But in the process, I am making it as chalant as possible. Is chalant a thing?
Like, bro, this is so chalant of me.
But yeah, I would say the Nexus 6 is good, but Nexus 5, no way. Stay away from that probably at this point. As far as the other last year phones, Galaxy S5 or S6, I guess S6 is last year. Battery life kind of sucks. Galaxy S6 Edge Plus, you're not going to get a deal on. It's so expensive. Galaxy Note 5, there have been some deals on those. That's a perfectly good phone if you don't mind TouchWiz, and the fact that you'll get Marshmallow, but beyond Marshmallow, I mean, like anybody's guess as far as when. The LG G4, it's too slow for me. Camera's good, but too slow. I like the curved screen on it because it prevents it from being scratched when you put it face down. The plastic is whatever, but they have the leather backs if you want something that feels nicer-ish or weirder. I would say they really just feel weirder. But I'm trying to think if there's anything else from last year that I really recommend.
I'm really looking for a phone that feels weirder, David. I'm glad
Well, if you're
you had
looking for something that looks
recommendation.
weird, Matt, I can heartily recommend the LG G4 with a leather back. It feels substantially weird. Other than that, now, I mean, yeah, I would say this Nexus 6 as far as last year's phones. You can also get a OnePlus 2, and I might have just set my hair on fire saying that, but
Yeah, you can get a OnePlus 2 and then hate yourself.
you could. So, if you have low self-esteem, there's a OnePlus 2.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, so we have a couple of antique submissions. The first one, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. I believe it's Arkeet. Said long-time listener here.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to stop you, Matt. Somebody's fan on their machine, or somebody's fan in general, is making noise. I think it might be Bertel.
Yeah, I think that's me.
But can you mute your mic?
So mute it now.
No.
No.
Yeah, just use the Hangouts mute button.
All right.
Hey, there we go.
Hey, there we go.
You know, I didn't even realize there was a bunch of background sound until it wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
All
I
right,
have my
so,
headphones turned way up.
All right, so excuse me. We had an antique submission from Arkeet. Says long-time listener here. I just wanted to contribute something to the Antique Police. I've thrown all the pictures with some subtitles in an Imager album. Feel free to do anything with it. Anything we want, guys. Let me pull this up here. Do screen share. This one.
So this was also called the Galaxy Apollo, as it says in the Imager gallery. I do remember the Galaxy Apollo name. I don't know that I ever saw one, though. This is, like, super old.
It is very shiny.
It is proto-Galaxy. It is very shiny. This actually looks to be a phone in relatively okay condition for its age.
So shiny.
Galaxy Apollo. Let's look that one up.
That home button is something to behold too.
It is. It is like it's shaped like a spade, isn't it? It's or a heart. It's it's a heart that you would want to have a doctor take a look at, but it's a heart. Let's see. It has a 3.15 megapixel camera. Oh yeah, shipped with a Claire. 3.2-inch screen, 240 by 400 resolution. 1500 milliamp hour battery, which is pretty big for back in the day, but that's mostly because Android was a goddamn battery devouring machine. A 1500 milliamp hour battery on a 3.2-inch screen is quite large. Because that's like the size of a, what kind of battery? How big was the battery on the iPhone 3GS? Battery milliamp hours for the iPhone 3GS. 1220 for the iPhone 3GS, and that one had a significantly bigger screen, didn't it? Come on, Wikipedia, help me out here. 3.5 inches, and a battery that was 20% smaller.
The screen size difference in that last picture is insane.
Oh yeah, there's this wonderful comparison picture of a Nexus 6P, and it looks like a Nexus 5 sitting there, maybe.
Nexus 4.
Is it a Nexus 4? Okay. Oh yeah, it says Nexus 4 in the picture in the caption. Well, I feel stupid. Yeah, it's he's got the Play Store up and running on this Galaxy Apollo, a new version of it, and it appears to work-ish. But then it says whenever you try to download an app, authentication is required. It looks like this phone did get updated with Froyo, but I think Gingerbread is basically the cutoff at this point for Google Apps functionality. It's pretty impressive. Quite the antique.
Yes. I'm looking at this picture and I don't know. I feel like it looks like the phone that's in the best shape of this whole group.
It does. I mean, the back's pretty messed up, but the front of it looks pretty damn good, actually. Maybe it has a screen protector on it or something, or had a screen protector on it.
Yeah.
That might explain it.
I wish I could see the charging port. I bet you that's mini USB instead of micro.
Oh, man, that's a good point. Yeah, he's got a cable plugged into it there, but I cannot see what the port is. Yeah, because that cable looks weirdo that he's got plugged into it. It's got a arrow pointing in which direction it should go. So I would not be surprised if it's a mini USB. That is a quite. So how much would we say this is worth? And I'm gonna look it up on eBay to see if any actually do exist. And so we're gonna go with, let's make this a thing. How much do we think the buy it now on one of these is gonna be for? Let's say
$14.99.
I'm gonna go with $22.99.
That's okay. I'm gonna say $19.99. Matt.
I'm gonna say $9.99.
$9.99. Ooh, it's aggressive.
It's without going over, right? It's the closest without going over.
No, it's just the closest.
The price is right.
I'm sorry, Matt. You've entered your answer. It's too late now. Galaxy 3. Well, the problem is this is going to show up for Galaxy S3, so I'm going to try to just quote Galaxy 3 here and see if that does anything for us. Galaxy 3, still just... Oh, wait. Is this one of them? No, that's a Galaxy S. It's all Galaxy S3s. This is...
Search for Galaxy Apollo.
I just did it. Oh, wait. We have a Galaxy 3 from somebody very unrealistic, and this is actually a different version of the phone, so that doesn't count. It's got a different button arrangement. It's not as weird as this one. Yeah, all of the ones I'm seeing, the Galaxy 3s have a... it's like a trapezoid, not a heart. So maybe this is just an Apollo and not a Galaxy 3. So let's take a look. And I am going to mute notifications here because it's getting annoying. Yeah, so this is just an Apollo, for whoever sent this in. The Galaxy 3 has a trapezoidal home button. The Apollo has a heart-shaped one. And given the very few number of these that are available, both sellers are highly unrealistic in their price points.
Wow. Yeah.
It looks...
What was the price point? I'm sorry, I missed it.
$69 or $44.99. So just completely not even remotely market, demand related. This is just
so basically
people
what
guessing.
you're telling me is that I win because I was the closest.
You were. You guessed what? $29.99.
I said $22.99.
$22.99. Anybody guess higher than $22.99?
No,
No.
I did.
Okay.
Only me.
Okay. Well, I guess Cameron wins.
I'm gonna guess a penny.
Yeah, there only do appear to be 2 of these on here, so that's great. So the model number is GTI 5800 if you want to have a look at a Galaxy, or you can just look up Galaxy Apollo. But yeah, so that was our first antique. We have one more to plow through here.
We're plowing through antiques tonight.
We
at
are
Android
plowing
Police.
through antiques. We are a bowl in a China shop.
I did want to point out there is actually somebody selling something that they claim is an Apollo, but it's actually a Galaxy S3.
It's a Galaxy S3?
Yes.
Wow.
It's listed as a GTI. Well, here I'll just screen share it. You can see it. This is very clearly. This is very clearly a Galaxy S3.
That is definitely a Galaxy S3.
That's totally
This person
Galaxy
probably
S3.
doesn't have much experience with smartphones. I guess we can take that away. So our other device is it's a Nexus. Isn't it a Galaxy Nexus?
Galaxy Nexus, G-Nex, yes.
Oh my
And
God.
this was actually submitted from our poster last week. What was the name of that device? I don't recall.
It was a LG Exceed 2.
Yes, he did offer to give us
Optimus Exceed 2.
the Optimus Exceed 2 for review because he thinks that it would be. He paid $5 apparently for it, and said you guys can just have it. It would be worth it just to hear the review. So your dreams of reviewing that phone could come true.
Yeah, we'd have to have a Verizon SIM card though, which.
Oh come on, somebody can get a Verizon SIM card. I mean, it's not going to be me.
Anyway, we
But they
need to
won't care
move
about
on.
cell
The
quality.
price is right for the Galaxy Nexus. So how much do we think Galaxy Nexuses are going for these days?
I'm going with $59.99. $499.
And we're going with this condition, which is pretty craptacular. It looks like to me.
I'm gonna go with $49.99.
I'm gonna go with $35.
29.
Bertel is Price is writing me. God damn it, Bertel. Okay, so we've got a new listing. Buy it now for a clean ESN Galaxy Nexus here. That looks actually in nicer condition than this. Well, it's a little bit of wear. $37. Buy it now.
Ooh.
We've got another one for $43, one for $50. Got another one for $25 here.
That looks one that's listed for exactly $49.99, which is what I guessed.
Well, you know what, Matt? Stop having self-fulfilling prophecies.
Yeah.
Basically, we're all right. Except
I'm gonna say by the average low here. I mean, we're looking between, I would say, $25 and $40 typically if you want one in decent shape. We got another one here, $27 as is for a used one. And okay, so eBay says these are trending at $35, $34.37.
I still have a Galaxy Nexus around here somewhere.
I see one for $149.
That person is clearly not selling their Galaxy Nexus.
Somebody is on.
Yeah, I would say $35 to $40 is what we're looking at typically here, with some coming in lower and some coming in not selling.
There's one on. I'm sorry. There's one on here for $289.99.
Whoa! Sealed in the box.
Yep.
Oh.
Somebody's like, hey, this is a Nexus. I hear those can sell for some dollars.
So yeah, that includes our antiques. We got 2 antiques. You should send in your antiques. If you got a weird old Android phone, this is actually I'm liking this segment a lot.
It's fun.
I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The weirder
or a tablet. It could be a really weird old tablet. Could be hard. It can't be like some generic Chinese crappy one because nobody cares and they're impossible to identify. But if you've got some weirdo old tablet, like if you want to have us know what a Toshiba Thrive is running these days, which I think is somewhere in the range of a trash can, it could be a pretty good bet. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. So if you want to send in those antiques, also any questions you have, you can get us at podcast@androidpolice.com.
All right. So we're also going to have Matt redo the outro, not roboting.
True story.
But why?
That's perfect. Just leave that.
That was the best. But why?
All right, so if you want to send in your antique submissions or any questions you have, you can get us at podcast@androidpolice.com. You can also call us at 530-HELLO-AP. That is 530-435-5627. You can also find us on Twitter at Android Police and on Google Plus and Facebook. Boom.
That's the ticket. I'm going to have to do some editing on this one.
Yes.
But good show otherwise. This is pretty good show.
Except for the extreme derailing early.
Pretty good. I'm getting my building it out here.
You should just call the episode the pretty good show.
Pretty good.
It's pretty.
There are a few good ones in this one worth taking a look at, I think. Mm-hmm. So, let me stop recording. All right, I'm gonna go, guys. I need to go get dinner stuff.
Yeah, I do too. I'm starving.
Stop the broadcast.